a journey right around the world. We're talking to people who are trying to tackle some of the biggest challenges mankind is facing over the next decade. Welcome to Horizons. Imagine living in the endless city. Well, for many people, that is already a reality because over half of humanity currently live in cities rather than the countryside. And that is the first time it's happened in the whole of history. Therefore, our urban areas matter, and we have to manage them. There are 23 so-called megacities, that's cities with over 10 million people. By 2025, there will be 13 more of them, many of which will be in the developing world. Almost certainly, more of us will be city-bound in the years ahead. How we manage, house and indeed move these new migrants into these areas will be crucial. Get it right and we could live in compact, efficient urban environments which fuel creativity and economic growth. But get it wrong, and we could suffer under a sea of congestion, pollution, and indeed, social decay. Later, Sima's at the site of the 2012 Olympics, where a deprived area of East London's getting a complete makeover.
So it was built from the beginning with legacy in mind.
And I'll be in Sao Paulo looking at the first case of urban regeneration in Brazil. London is Europe's largest city. Over the years, it's been remade, rebuilt, even reinvented. And many point to this city as a great example that change can be for the better in urban planning. One person who's tackling megacity issues head-on is Professor Ricky Burdett at the London School of Economics. If you were designing a megacity from scratch, you sit down and you can design anything you want. What is the theory that would drive that design, the big philosophical thought?
The three sort of key things are good planning, it's an obvious one, by which I mean good infrastructure, particularly public transport, one. Two is good management. Unless you have good democracy and a mayor who's in charge of it, I think you don't get cities as well. And the third one is really to do with social equity. That unless you have a balance of people of difference who can live together and you control that somehow, you're going to get a city which is very, very diverse, very unequal, and that's really not what cities are about.
A lot of people say compact is the way to go. That's the sustainable way.
The compact city is the right answer, but that doesn't mean one center. And that's why Navi Mumbai is so interesting, because it's an attempt to create a new center, one of many centers. I think the idea is that it's not the sprawling, endless city, which might be Mexico City or Los Angeles, which literally has no edges to it.
That's why I'm heading to Navi or New Mumbai, 25 kilometers to the east of the old center. It claims to be the largest planned city in the world. 40 years ago, it was conceived with one purpose in mind, to decongest India's most populous metropolis. That's because every second, another person arrives to live in this vast megacity. Navi Mumbai has been slow to stake its claim as a successful satellite town, but in the past few years, it's become a rapidly growing hub in its own right. And the city authorities have kept tight control by choosing to lease rather than sell the available land. So why has it been so fast-paced?
So land as a resource is the main reason. It's the main financial stay of the city. Secondly, land is being controlled and owned fully by us. So this city can be better regulated and developed by us and planned by us. In New Bombay, all the lands are leased to the people. Once we allot the lands for various uses, or even the constructed houses and everything. So it's all leased land.
Leasehold rather than freehold allows the urban authority to control what's constructed here. There are 14 townships. In the years ahead, 6 more are planned. Remarkably, it covers roughly half the total area of Old Mumbai, yet it has a tenth of the population. It certainly helps with congestion. People here have short commutes.
How has the way you've planned the roads helped the city and the movement of traffic?
We can see for ourselves there is a smooth flow of traffic and connectivity is excellent from all parts of the city to each and every part of the city. There's absolutely hindrance-free traffic, I would say.
So has it really reduced people's time from getting to work or school?
Of course. You can definitely reach your place of residence to the work in a very small fraction of time as compared to other places like Bombay and all that.
So what makes this roads and the infrastructure here so different?
Each particular road of a particular category has a particular function. Some roads are called collector roads, which collect the traffic from various places, and then finally the traffic is channelized to a particular place.
Do you think that's made a huge difference to the flow of traffic?
Of course it has. And that's all about futuristic planning or perspective planning.
When all the townships are built, it will have an official population of 2 million and support 1 million jobs. These new elevated pedestrian walkways today are built with tomorrow's population in mind.
It's having a length of 1.7 kilometers, costing about 320 million rupees. The pedestrian should be able to cross the roads very safely without getting injured or anything.
Access to the old city is quick and easy by good suburban rail and road links, which have been critical to growth. As have jobs. Navi Mumbai is now a high-tech hub in its own right, home to reputable Indian and multinational companies thanks to government incentives and tax breaks. There are also several universities here, all helping the population mushroom by over 85% in the last 10 years.
This is Central Park and it spans across 200 acres. It's been specially planned and designed to provide something for everyone, young and old. And in the evenings, families come here to enjoy themselves.
There are people from all walks of life here. That's because the urban authorities made sure that half of the 120,000 homes constructed are for lower-income families. Central Park is also Asia's biggest, planned along the lines of Hyde Park in London. I caught up with a local family who've moved to Navi Mumbai.
The worst part of Mumbai is the traffic jams.
Yeah.
You can get the things fast. Everything is nearby, you know, the malls and everything. No need to go to Mumbai. There are a lot of schools nearby, doctors, good hospitals, the good transportation facilities, more trains. Now the metro link.
The continued success of Navi Mumbai will depend on whether it can attract more jobs, more people in the future. A new international airport on a greenfield site is also planned, as are even better transport links, all crucial to the 21st century megacity.
Come 2050, it's expected that 3/4 of the entire global population will live in cities, and much of the growth in the number of city dwellers will happen in the developing world. After the break, we'll be looking at Sao Paulo.
Os olhos do mundo estão voltados para o Brasil, uma vez que nós teremos em 2014 a Copa do Mundo e 2 anos depois, após as Olimpíadas. Grandes eventos que ela está mostrando para o mundo o crescimento do país. E o setor mineral brasileiro é fundamental para o sucesso desses 2 eventos.
Barro Alto é parte desse crescimento e modernização do Brasil. Afinal, o que produzimos é matéria que é usado na construção de toda essa infraestrutura.
A mineração, ela exige e precisa de ter máquinas grandes e precisa do homem para operar essas máquinas. A gente sabendo que o ser humano ele pode falhar, são nos pequenos erros que pode acontecer grandes erros, grandes fatalidades.
A indústria de mineração é uma indústria bastante perigosa. A diferença é que esse perigo hoje é controlado.
A Dupont foi um time que nos fez ter uma visão melhor, uma visão voltada para a segurança, mais minuciosa.
When you talk about protection in the workplace, it's in our blood. The way that we spread the safety culture is through the leadership going to the ground and talk with the people and check how they are doing their procedures. This is called visible felt leadership.
É muito importante para empresas como a Anglo American firmar parcerias com a Dupont por essa expertise que a Dupont apresenta.
During these 4 years, we had 0 fatality.
Por mais que aquela tarefa é perigosa, ela pode ser feita com segurança.
Sao Paulo is the biggest city in the Americas. At 10,000 square kilometers, it's one of the largest urban sprawls on the planet. Traffic is notorious. This megacity can't expand anymore. City officials really need to address urban decay at its very heart if it's to thrive.
Can you tell me the sorts of problems that São Paulo actually has developed now?
Yeah, São Paulo has grown very fast. From in the 1920s, it was less than 500,000. Now we have 11 million in the city and 20 million in the metropolitan region. The city has grown, sprawling, and people live in the peripheral areas, and the jobs and the opportunities are mostly concentrated in the core of the city. This is very inefficient, and to really revert this dynamic is a challenge that the city has to pursue very strongly.
What are your plans to overcome those problems?
There is a project that's called 30-Minute City, where people can arrive in their jobs in 30 minutes. That will require not only the vigorous expansion of the network of transport, but how people are located in the city. Right. One of the strategies that is to accommodate the growth of the city in the areas that have already good infrastructure, that are central.
High-density neighborhoods where all daily activities, work, play, school, shops and entertainment are only 30 minutes from each other, using good public transport links, is the goal.
Nova Luz is one example of this, isn't it? Just explain what you're trying to achieve there.
Well, Nova Luz is an area that has the best accessibility in the city, 3 metro lines and 4 train lines. What we want is to achieve the density in this area that's compatible with the infrastructure that the area have, searching for the area to achieve its full potential.
But the Central Light District, or Luz, was once a no-go area, known locally as crackland, home to drug dealers, squatters and urban decay. City authorities are hoping a new scheme dubbed Nova Luz, or New Light, will transform the district. It's Brazil's first attempt at urban regeneration. Developers are retrofitting the area to create a dense, well-connected, so-called 30-minute city.
What are the guiding principles, really, that you've established that would make this urban development different?
The ability to, work, live, and walk, send your children to schools in the neighborhood. And if we can create a neighborhood where people can do all of that stuff without having to get in their car, that will be novel for Sao Paulo. Today, this 45 blocks directly adjacent to this beautiful station, 30% of the land here is empty. The rail stations have been renovated. So all around the periphery, there's been this incredible investment, and now the city would like the private sector to come in and really, redevelop this area.
Nova Luz is Sao Paulo's largest urban project, with the government investing nearly $2 billion. bulldozing outdated skyscrapers, upgrading transport links, and renovating cultural buildings.
This is, I think, a great example of some of the historic structures. 30% of the land is going to be is historically protected structure. So the project really took that into consideration, and the part of the project is to actually take the funds that are raised through the real estate creation to help pay for the restoration of these historic buildings.
Because it's so central, Nova Luz is likely to be a sought-after location once it's been renovated, and therefore very attractive to private investors. They get prime real estate plots in exchange for investing in infrastructure, social housing, and cultural centres.
The Sala Sao Paulo has been restored into a beautiful, kind of a national treasure. It's the Sao Paulo Symphony Hall, beautiful inside. The challenge is right now is when you come out at the evening of symphony, you come into this derelict neighborhood.
So you use this as a sort of beacon building?
Yes.
Around which you hope to regain some sort of quality development.
20,000 new jobs could be created here in the future, with over 4,000 new homes planned. When completed, nearly a third of the whole Luz district will be transformed.
In addition to all of the transportation infrastructure invested by the public sector, the restoration of all these cultural facilities has been a huge symbol of the public investment in the downtown core. So.
It isn't going to happen overnight. I mean, it's not going to happen over a year or two. I mean, this is what, a decade-long plan? Or
we think that this is going to be a 20-year plan, restoring this neighborhood building by building, rather than like they would have done in the 70s, wiping the whole area clean. We really think that you know, this is a model that I think will become a very healthy prototype for the rest of Latin America. All of Latin America's megacities are struggling with many of the same issues.
Investing heavily in urban renewal without costing the taxpayer is critical for success, with developers delivering change. But shaking up one of the city's oldest neighborhoods isn't going to be easy. Residents, businesses, social housing and homeless activists have come together to negotiate with the government and private developers about the plans they also want to see. Nova Luz is home to many of Sao Paulo's established electronic and music stores. Not everyone here wants radical change. Some feel they should be given direct funding for urban renewal instead of it going primarily to big developers.
What do you feel about the proposals to redevelop everything around here?
Sao Paulo, especially this area downtown, is an area where they have all the facilities, transportation, subways, everything. It's a key area. There are a lot of developments, new buildings, construction, finance and business. So I support the project. It's good, because we have to follow the development going on for the future. But the ones who are planning, building and putting money into this should think about the traditional things that were here before.
Do you think it is possible to redevelop the area and maintain the cultural, the sort of family feel that you've managed to do right here?
I think it's possible. There are people here that need better housing, better businesses, and the need to feel safer in this area. But it's not fair if people just think about the political issues or the financial issues of making money easily, especially the construction companies. Because we can all make money. We can revitalise the neighbourhood for sure, but also respect what exists in terms of heritage here.
1, 2, 3, go!
Transforming Luz into Nova Luz, the new light district, can't just rely on the music of private enterprise, community spirit or government intervention. It has to rely on a concert of all three. It's certainly a lesson for other megacities around the world. London is another megacity looking to build from within. The 2012 Olympics was a prelude to one of Europe's largest urban renewal projects. Saima takes a look.
Athens, Barcelona, Sydney, now London. There's always been a question about Olympic legacy and what happens when the sports stars pack their bags and the stadiums start gathering dust. Turning a short-term event into a long-term positive legacy is a big issue. The focus is urban regeneration of a semi-derelict post-industrial site, nearly 300 football pitches in size. In a crowded cityscape, town planners have been eyeing East London for more than 50 years. The Olympics changed everything. 2 million tons of soil were remediated and restored, creating the largest urban park Europe has seen for more than 100 years. There's a low-carbon energy centre housing a combined heat and power plant, which will eventually supply 5 new neighbourhoods, with 8,000 homes to be built by 2030. A commercial high-tech district's planned. 8,000 jobs are projected in an area just east of the world's commercial hubs, the City of London and Canary Wharf.
So it was built from the beginning with legacy in mind. Everything was built.
A lot of forward planning into what happens next.
So from the beginning, regeneration and the building of a city is the DNA of the site. That's what's important. It wasn't how do we just build the Olympic venues, it's how do we build a piece of the city, and then how do those venues, how does the land, how does everything we create going to be the foundation for the city. This was 500 acres of industrial site which had overhead wires, it had contaminated land, it had, polluted waterways. All that has been, as part of the Olympic project, cleaned up, and the best of kind of urban development practice, all put in to create a platform for a new part of Megacity.
What were the challenges of incorporating what was already here and retrofitting the city for the future when the population's going to get bigger?
Well, the careful master planning was absolutely critical because that was the foundation of what was done in terms of the creation of the Olympic Park. How to take brownfield sites in urban areas, make those a priority, build first in the city, not going out to greenfield sites, actually building within the city itself, taking industrial sites, taking land that's been contaminated, building on top of the transportation network, and allowing for the growth to occur. So rather than growing out, you build within.
Do you see this as a blueprint for future regeneration projects?
The way it was done from the beginning, that the London Olympics was thought of as a regeneration project, as a major infrastructure project, tied to the growth of London and tied to trying to improve the lives of some of the poorest communities in London and in the UK, was very important. The fact that that was there from the start, that idea, that very powerful idea and the vision made this a blueprint.
By 2014, the first homes will be ready. Like Nova Luz in Sao Paulo, it'll be well connected by transport links, a rejuvenated neighbourhood where people can live, work and play. As London's population swells by 1 million in the years ahead, it's urban renewal projects like these that will make the difference.
We're trying to not have those sprawling cities that build the, one city next to the next city, next to the next city, and keep sprawling outward. You're trying to build around transport, you're trying to build sustainably, and by building the Olympic Park as an integrated community, we take pressure off of trying to intrude into greenfield sites so that London, instead of sprawling out, builds more dense from within, but does it in a sustainable way.
Denser, more compact urban areas are, of course, the most sustainable way for us all to live. But we want the cities of the future to also make us happier and healthier, richer and greener. That is an impressive shopping list of demands. And despite all the efforts being put into this area, it's yet to be seen that they can all be achieved.